Hi, I'm Matt. Today on News 6, we have news for you from the Napoleon, Ohio area. Since this is the bicentennial year, we're keeping in the spirit with a story on the man who designed the 50-star flag. He's Bob Heft, a local businessman and the newly elected mayor of Napoleon. Mr. Heft designed the flag many years ago, and it is now the official flag of the United States. We had a chance to talk with Mr. Heft, and with that interview, here's Sue Lane.
Mr. Heft, who gave you ideas on making the flag?
Well, I guess you might say I came up with the idea myself, and the reason was for political balance. In other words, everybody in the class had to do some sort of project. A lot of the girls made costumes of the era of history we were studying. By that I mean they made, clothes in home economics class and stuff. Most of the boys made notebooks and updated at each 6-week period or grading period. I decided to do something a little different, and I'd read in the paper where we possibly might take in our 49th state, and I followed politics, and it was predominantly one party, so I thought, well, we probably won't have 49 states very long. We'll probably have 50. So it was nothing more than a hunch. So it was under that basis that I went ahead and made a 50-star flag. In other words, it was made actually before the 49-star flag.
Who sewed and put together the flag?
Well, I did the sewing and the putting together of the flag. Actually, there's not too much sewing on the flag. The only sewing is the blue area where the blue field joins the red and white stripes. The rest of it is iron-on material that it has an adhesive on the back, a glue, and when heat's applied, in other words, iron, then it fuses together or melts together the glue, and that's how the stars are put on. Because if I'd have had to sew each star on individually, I'd probably still be working on it.
Why didn't you let your flag go to the moon?
Well, believe it or not, I've thought of it. I thought, boy, this would really be neat to have the flag I made flown on the moon. And I did contact NASA, the Space Administration, and ask them about the possibilities. And first of all, the flag that did fly on the moon was made out of a fabric that was heat resistant, in other words, asbestos. And they also said, well, perhaps we could send your flag to the moon, but we can't guarantee you'll get it back. Of course, they didn't know whether the mission would be successful. So I thought, well, after thinking about it a little while, I thought, well, I want to make certain I got the flag forever or for a long period of time. So I decided not to send it to the moon.
The Damascus Bridge near Napoleon was an old bridge about 65 years old. Several months ago, people disagreed whether the bridge should be torn down and rebuilt or just forgotten. A hearing was called to discuss the possibility of saving the bridge, but the cost of putting it back into shape would have been $450,000. For a long time, the bridge seemed to be doomed. The people who wanted to keep the bridge got together and passed around a petition to save the Damascus Bridge. The petition worked. The state of Ohio was convinced that the structure should be saved. The bridge is now being rebuilt and will be finished and ready for traffic in the summer of 1976. At the northwest corner of West Clinton and Haley Streets in Napoleon stands the residence built by one of Henry County's most colorful citizens, and its most famous Civil War was soldier Robert K. Scott. This 3-story brick house has many unusual features, among them being a room with no doors. Entrance must be gained through a window. On Christmas Eve in 1880, the residents of Napoleon were shocked by a tragedy in which General Scott played a principal role. A man was shot and killed by Scott at a local drugstore, who Scott claimed to be innocent, and a jury pronounced him not guilty. From the jury's verdict in the Scott trial came the coinage of a new phrase. Because of the great controversy over the decision, forever after, when some people thought that a guilty man was acquitted, they said he went scot-free. Now to Debbie with a tasty story.
Good, good. That's what camel soups are, good. No doubt you've heard that jingle on radio and TV many times. Well, Napoleon is the home of a camel soup plant. During the year, all types of soup are made at the plant. But when the tomatoes start to ripen and the tomato season rolls around, Campbell stops making other soups and concentrates only on tomato soup and other tomato products. Because of the Campbell Soup plant and other companies in Napoleon that produce tomato products, along with the many acres of tomatoes that are growing in the area, it's easy to see why Napoleon is called the tomato capital. One of the newest buildings in the city of Napoleon is the fire station. It was built because the old fire station was too small and because the floor was about to cave in. Every time the fire trucks would drive in, the firemen could feel the floor give way. The new fire facility is much larger and more modern, with many conveniences that the old station didn't have. There's more room for the fire trucks and even a room where the firemen can sit and watch color TV. Now to Tom for a story with a beat.
The Napoleon High School Marching Band has been invited to represent the state of Ohio in the National Bicentennial Cherry Blossom Festival in Washington, D.C. in April. This would be their third trip to Washington. The band made its first trip to the Cherry Blossom Festival in 1967 and returned for a second trip in 1970. Napoleon High's band also won awards at the state VFW parade in Cincinnati this past summer, and in 1973 represented Ohio in the Lions Club International Parade in Miami Beach, Florida. Everyone is proud of the great job that the band is doing for Napoleon and the state of Ohio. The Heller Company in Napoleon is a very interesting place. It is one of the few windmill manufacturing companies left in the United States. Heller has been operating for more than 100 years and has sold windmills around the world in places like Puerto Rico, Africa, Europe, and in many areas of the United States. The Heller Company also produces farm equipment including water tanks, water pumps, and weather vanes. A few years ago, the company was chosen to appear on the television program What's My Line? With the energy crisis, there may be an increase in the use of windmills for power. Napoleon's Heller Company may become even more important around the world.
I'm Matt Dillman speaking for Bill, Debbie, Tom, and everyone in Mr. Chassler's 6th grade at St. Paul Lutheran Elementary in Napoleon, saying, "Have a good day."